Hello, everyone, and welcome back to From Porch Talk. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man. Tonight I've got the next 6 minutes with me live.
Yes, I am live.
And, of course, we've got Messiah of Keck, also known as Dick Daddy Foster.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Antipa the Hun will be joining us a little bit later, as well as Irate Prostate and maybe a few others. We got to see. But tonight's topic is going to be American terrorism and homegrown terrorist issues. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, what are you talking about, American terrorism? You know, well, just hang on a second, because you might actually be surprised. It's a bigger issue than a lot of people realize. So I pulled this up this week, and I want to share it with everybody before we get started. This is a image set. Where is it? Oh, shoot. It is not showing up now. Why is it not showing up? Darn it. I might have to open it. Hey, Irate. How you doing, man?
Keto.
It seems that Windows Image Viewer is not wanting to show it, so I'm going to have to open it up a different way.
Thank you.
How you doing, Irate?
I'm hanging in there, a little sleepy, a little tired.
I understand.
Whoa.
There we go. Now everybody can see it. And I'm presenting to everyone right now. As you can see here, there are at least 40 terrorist training camps throughout the United States.
Dallas-Fort Worth does not surprise me.
Dallas-Fort Worth actually has 3, one for Hamas, one for Islamic Jihad, and one for Hezbollah. Arlington has one for Al-Qaeda. Raleigh, North Carolina has Islamic Jihad. Charlotte has Hezbollah.
H-Town, that does not surprise me.
Plainsfield, Indiana.
Bama had 2, and as soon as they were discovered, they got fucking run off.
Oh, yeah.
Because the people, they were renting from white people that, had these huge tracts of land, and they were running full deal, man. Automatic weapons, the whole shebang.
Seattle,
explosives.
Washington's got a couple. Portland, Oregon's got at least one. I actually think there's one out in the Dalles, Oregon as well. San Francisco, Santa Clara, L.A., Tucson, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, Tampa. We've got them all over the U.S.
Is it any wonder that all these places are the douchiest places in the country?
Well, I don't know that Plainsfield, Indiana is all that douchey. And I mean, Detroit is where the weak are killed and eaten, and they've got 5 there. Must make them extra tough. Same with Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've got 2, man.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of Democratic run, like a Democrat-run governments abound.
Yeah, I would like to superimpose the 2016 election results and see how many blue areas correspond with these terrorist hotspots.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was kind of looking at that, and it does look like a lot of these terrorist hotspots fall under blue demographic areas, which is...
You like terrorism? Vote Democrat.
Yep. That's what it appears to be anyway. However, it's not just about that. I mean, a lot of these different groups don't just have training camps in these locations. I don't know about a lot of these other states because I haven't looked into it as deeply, but I know Oregon, Washington, and California have very extremist beliefs in the school systems that keep pushing Islam.
I'm somewhat shocked that there's not one in Austin. But, Dallas-Fort Worth, a lot of Democrats up there, a lot of Democrats out east and Houston.
Houston, Arlington, and Dallas-Fort Worth. None in Austin, at least not according to this map. Now, this map is 7 years old.
So I would imagine that there's at least there's at least a wannabe sect in Austin right now.
There probably is. I wouldn't necessarily rule that out. But one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about was some of these cities here. So, anybody got anything about any of these that we haven't already discussed so far? Anybody know anything about what's going on in Denver that makes it a hotbed for Al-Qaeda?
Democrats.
I mean, D.C.'s got Hezbollah and Hamas. I know that they've got a huge care organization in D.C.
Democrat.
And I know Portland has the big Council for Islamic American Relations in Portland.
Democrat.
Yep. There's Denver. Denver is a hotspot of Democratic voting.
The whole state, yeah. They used to be a hardcore red state too.
Not quite as bad as Boulder, but Denver is certainly an area that they're getting a lot of. They're getting a lot of cast off from New York and California. Those are one of those areas that people well, they found out the hard way that their politics creates an environment of high-priced real estate that they can no longer afford to live on. So they go out west to, or in the case of New York, they go out east. Or shit, or my directions are wrong.
New York goes west, California goes east.
Right, there you go. So that's that they search for more affordable plots of land that they can settle down in, and unfortunately they bring their politics with them, because they certainly have not learned their lesson that maybe they should leave that shit where they came from, and not bring it to other parts of the country, because then we get little hotspots of jihadis springing up here and there. Why? Because of the attitudes that they currently have, make it impossible for them to ever consider that. Well, yeah, maybe I should hold some groups to a little more scrutiny and not give them the free pass because their religion. The religion doesn't happen to, jive with the current state of geopolitics. At least how it has unfolded in the past several years. Anyhow, I'm rambling.
Not really, because I'm sitting here talking with Falcon Millennial in the chat.
I got to get better at looking at chat. I don't.
Yeah, we got Tyro and Falcon in there right now. They're talking about how Californians just need to head right into the ocean and just quit coming east.
I don't
disagree with them.
Yeah, just a quick segue. I wanted to apologize to Tyro because I got the times wrong when I invited him to the tea time stream this afternoon. I cited 6 Central with him when I really should have been citing 6 Eastern. So,
Tyro, did you hear that? Oh shoot, I don't know that you're still in the chat. Here, let me see.
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize for that one because I had invited him to my discussion about guns this afternoon. So, my bad. Anyhow,
yeah, we got Joe Rash in the chat as well. He just showed up. But yeah, no, I don't disagree with you on that. When it comes to Colorado, I definitely do think they are having issues because of people coming east. I think Tucson, Arizona, and most of Arizona in and of itself that's having those issues is the same way, as well as New Mexico. But one of the things that I do remember is, especially back in the late 80s, early 90s, was a lot of these same areas were hotbeds for militias, from the looks of it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Irate. Don't you remember the late 80s, early 90s, and the militia movements?
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota and Michigan would be in there if it was all of the same states, as well as like Montana and Idaho.
I was going to say Idaho, Montana, and parts of North Dakota, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
North
thinking.
Dakota would be in there too.
And there's in some parts. I mean, it's like almost like that whole fucking Canadian border had like this little I don't know, cells of free living people that were like, I guess, yeah. So
and I mean, I know everybody tried to blame the militia movements
well,
in the
no,
southeast,
man.
but there weren't really that many that I know of down there. Did you?
No. And in Arizona,
Yeah.
there were some. It's like it seems like a lot of them were border states.
Yeah.
Which makes makes sense to me.
Well, to be fair, a lot of the states we're talking about right now are border states. The ones that we're talking about that have all these Islamic terrorist centers. I mean, we're looking at Pacific Coast states, Texas, Florida, Arizona. You've got New York, you've got Massachusetts, North and South Carolina, Wisconsin, Idaho, Illinois. I mean,
I don't get South Carolina.
I do. Have you been in South Carolina in the past 15 years, man? Virginia also.
Just passing through, visiting.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of serious gang activity. Late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of gang activity. The gangs were using AKs on each other in the streets, man.
Am I going out, or are y'all going out?
Neither from my perspective.
It must be me.
Yeah, it must be you, man.
It has to be me. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pop out and pop back in. I'm sorry. You know what? Let's try F5. Fuck it.
But yeah, as I was saying, in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of gangland activity, especially in South Carolina with the drug trade, and created a lot of underground trafficking. And so, doesn't surprise me, South Carolina, actually.
Well, true. It's
Virginia does a little bit more than
groups
South
like
Carolina.
this would flock to areas where they can easily procure
automatic weapons, explosives, equipment, land.
And weapons that get smuggled into our country from where exactly? Yes, the soft border between ourselves and Mexico.
Well, man, I don't know how much weapons smuggling we need to do, really, to arm terrorist camps in the United States. I mean, for crying out loud, I can go buy AK-47s at the local gun show in Oregon.
Mm-hmm. No, not the fully auto.
No, the fully auto. I can go buy M2s.
God damn.
I just got to fill out the paperwork.
And jump through the hoops and the tax stamps and all that stuff.
Yeah. But the tax stamp is only $200. I mean, if I'm buying a $20,000 machine gun, an extra $200 isn't really that big a deal.
I got to go where you are. The gun shows have FF.
God damn! What are you paying $20K for?
50 caliber M2 machine gun and 1,000 rounds.
A fucking Ma Deuce.
Yeah, Ma Deuce. 20 grand.
God.
With bipod.
I dream of like having one mounted on a pickup truck.
Well, these don't have the vehicle ring mounts. These are the tripod mounted ones. They're for ground use, but you could easily buy a ring mount. It's another $2,000.
Yeah, fuck
dig me a damn foxhole and throw some.
Well,
bought that thing to bed in the pickup truck, man.
Well, guys, I mean, you can buy the 37 millimeter flare launchers for like $500 at the gun shows in Oregon.
Jesus, dude.
Doesn't come with any ammo, but that's just the flare launcher. Well, these are smooth bore, man. They're not the 40 millimeters. These are the smooth bore 37s. So they're not nearly as accurate. You can only hit it 100 yards with them.
Well, to be fair, I haven't actually been to a gun show here in San Antonio since I've lived here. So there could very well be an FFL3 dealer at one of these shows.
And to be fair, a lot of people don't realize just how easy it is to get access to FFL3 level weapons in most states. A lot of states, especially states that support, like constitutional carry, Type 3 weapons aren't as hard to get as people make out. It does take some time, and you do have to jump through the hoops, but realistically, it's mostly just waiting.
These are, to be fair, these groups are not known for their patience.
They're not, but I mean, realistically, if you're going to set up a training camp like that, and you're going to drop, a couple of hundred gur just on the property to set everything up, spending another 100 gur on weaponry ain't really that big a deal.
Yeah.
And since the semi-automatic mod deuces are like $5,000 instead of 10, and all it takes is a couple of springs to swap out.
Well,
hey guys, I gotta go. I'm having some issues over here, so
not a problem, Messiah.
I'm so sorry, man.
Dude, I understand.
I'm trying to get back into things, but I'm still having some issues. So,
all right,
I understand, man. Go ahead.
You don't need to talk, dude. I'm here for you, buddy. All right.
Thanks. I gotta go though. Bye.
All right.
Poor guy.
Yeah, but I mean, when you start talking equipment and access, it's not hard to get access to a lot of this stuff. I mean, shoot, we had Red Jacket Firearms on the frickin' History Channel showing people how easy it was to get this stuff. And while I don't agree with necessarily all the cast that was in that show, it really does just take filling out a background check and waiting the 60 days for the frickin' FBI to finish it.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to bring up is that, I don't know, it just seems to me like it would be suspicious if 20 guys named Muhammad show up looking for FFL3 stuff. That would...
Yeah, 20 guys named Muhammad, but one guy named Muhammad and one guy named James showing up and buying 5 FFL3 weapons and saying they're going to open up an automatic weapons range throws a lot less shade on the situation, man. And if you notice, a lot of these areas, I mean, the cities that they're near aren't necessarily weapons permissive locations, but the states that they're still in are. Because although California has a lot of problems in the inner cities with the Democrats running, the massive gun control, the rest of the state really doesn't care about guns. It's the cities that make all the stupid laws about the guns.
Yeah.
It's the same in Oregon and Washington, and from what I understand from my friends in Colorado, the same there. So, you start talking about some guy over the hill. Oh yeah, we hear him firing off his Ma Deuces. He runs an automatic weapon range over there. Nobody cares just as long as he's not running stray rounds into the neighbors. Yeah. In fact, I think that's the only reason that place down in New Mexico didn't get caught. It's for the same kind of reasons.
Yeah, anytime like something like this happens, there's always some legislator that proposes some massive overcorrection that doesn't really address the issue. We always get some new laws proposed that if anything, make things worse when they're implemented for everybody that is law-abiding, and wouldn't think of starting an elementary school terrorist training center.
Oh yeah, well these, from what I'm understanding and what I'm reading, these shooters were going to be sent into high schools once they were ready. Because they were right at that middle school age, and they were still training them.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that they were going to go in to like freshman or junior year at high schools and then shoot up the schools. and that they were going to spread them out throughout the state so that multiple schools got hit.
Right. Force the hand of the House and the Senate, try to get some kind of bill passed.
Yeah, to strip weapons, or at least force it within the state of New Mexico to start stripping weapons. Because I know Texas is very permissive on weapons. I mean, I was in a bank in El Paso, and I watched the old lady in front of me pull her .44 Magnum out of her purse to get to her checkbook. And it was in a holster. She pulled it out in the holster, sat it on the counter, reached back in the purse. Little old lady too, like 5 foot nothing. So It was Grandma Irvin carrying her .44 Magnum. You know?
It's those fucking gophers. God damn it.
Digging up the azaleas.
And when she was done depositing her Social Security check, she put the .44 right back in her purse and went on about her business.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm fixing.
Oh shoot! Did he cut out?
I guess lightning just struck his house. I don't know what's.
Oh geez, man! I guess we just lost Irate due to the storm. Well.
Hey, well it's it's just you and me again, buddy. Just you and me.
Yes, it is. And apparently, unapologetic Pagan showed up in the stream. I'm kind of surprised. Haven't seen him in a while. I was curious if he was still online or not. But yeah, I know that Texas is that permissive with handguns, and from what I remember about New Mexico, it's fairly permissive as well.
They told me that was a no-no when I took my my concealed carry course.
Carrying into a bank?
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
Well, to be fair, man, this was over 10 years ago.
And there was some little old lady.
Yeah. This has been a while. This was back when I was in my 20s. So it's been a while. It's over 10 years now.
Let's see. So this is yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm we're probably going to hear a lot of this. The two guys that I think are going to be watching this very carefully, are the Metal Twins. I'm starting to call them, is Razor Fist and Styx, Pex and Hammer. They're going to be watching this shit really closely. Maybe Matt Christensen. Those three guys tend to look at these sort of things very closely. So I'll probably be hearing a lot from those guys as far as what asinine proposed legislation we'll be hearing about this in the future, coming from this incident.
Yes, and to be fair, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this as well and call out anything that tries to come down the pike. I know that Senator Udall of New Mexico has already been talking about this.
Well, let me just throw this very sort of like hypothetical out there. This is just a like hypothetical of hypothetical.
Yeah. Should
any of the past quote-unquote mass school shootings be re-examined for possible ties to organized terrorism? Because it seems to me this kind of opened a big can of worms. It seems to me that a case could be made that at least one, perhaps maybe even more, of these incidents could conceivably be tied to some form of organized terrorism.
Could be. I mean, I come back to the Reynolds High School shooting in Oregon. Young Hispanic boy took his brother's AR and went into school and started shooting people in the guy's locker room. And the coach stopped him.
Yeah, that'd be.
You know, he was
Yeah.
active. He was active with his church. He was active within the community, and then all of a sudden he went bug nuts and started killing people.
Right.
And this was after they had done a big change and were forcing Islamic studies in the high school as part of cultural awareness studies.
Yeah, because my memory may be a bit fuzzy, but I recall when I was reading about a lot of these mass shootings that when the authorities got there to check out their computers and stuff like that, their hard drives have been wiped. Now that may or may not be anything, but it seems a bit strange that if they're going on this suicidal um, rampage, they wouldn't necessarily care very much about what the authorities would find on their computers.
Well, man, I mean that gets kind of an odd thing. I mean, people who have thrown themselves off buildings have been known to take their clothes off and fold them neatly in a pile before jumping.
True,
So, I
true.
mean, I get where you're going, but there's also that aspect of it. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but
I'm
it
not
comes to
sure.
yeah, it's hard to be sure, but it's always struck me as odd that they would take that much consideration for something
That petty.
that petty. It just strikes me as odd, and um, I would be very curious to find out exactly who they were talking to, and if there would be any sort of potential ties to any sort of organized terrorist group like ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas or something like that.
Well, I can tell you right now, the Christmas tree bomber in Portland, Oregon, was talking with the FBI. He thought he was talking with the Muslim Brotherhood.
Exactly. It's like, what if the Florida shooter was talking to one of these groups?
Mateen?
What if the Littleton, not the Littleton, the what the heck place, that place out east in the Sandy Hook
Yeah.
kid? What if he was talking to organized terrorist groups? What if the Columbine kids were talking to organized terrorist groups? What
And,
if
and it doesn't necessarily have to be Muslims. I mean, look at Ted Kaczynski. Theodore
right?
Kaczynski, the Unabomber, he was one of the
Any
greatest
sort of,
terrorists.
yeah, they don't have to be Islamic based,
No.
but what if one or more of these so-called lone wolves were actually getting their instructions on how to do the stuff that they were doing from organized terrorist groups?
And to be fair, I don't think that that's such an out there thought. Because, I mean, some of this stuff,
Yeah, it's,
some of the stuff these kids are coming up with is just way beyond
right, right.
what they should be thinking about.
Unapologetic pagan. Good point. Vegas shooter.
Yeah, Vegas shooter. He said one of the ones recently had ISIS propaganda in their browser history. Irate's PC went down without warning, so he will try to join us when he comes back. And yes, you are right, unapologetic pagan. There is still no real motivation from the Vegas shooter. At least not which has been able to be uncovered publicly by anybody that isn't directly tied to the Las Vegas Police Department.
Yeah.
Which leaves me baffled because 50-year-old guys don't go on shooting sprees for no reason.
Right. There's got to be something. This one of the more recent shootings up there in Canada. As far as I know, I don't know what Irving Twin will probably be able to tell you more about that, but it it just seems to me that I think a lot of or all the quote unquote mass shootings, whether they be in school areas or any other area, should be re-examined for potential ties to some sort of radical extremist terrorist organizations.
Yeah, and I definitely think we need to do more direct connection and analysis of these people's backgrounds when we go through these cases. And I know I hate saying that because it's going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money, but we need to better understand what's going on here, because this is bad stuff, people, when it really comes down to it. The fact that we're seeing more training camps in the United States training terrorists, and we're not just talking about Islamic here, we're talking about in general. I mean, the second biggest form of terrorism in the world is communist terrorism or socialist terrorism.
Yeah.
And we've seen a huge rise in Antifa in the United States in the past 7 years. And, you know, these guys are training somewhere. They are educating themselves somewhere. They are practicing this stuff somewhere.
Yeah. You know, I always joke that by comparison, American Antifa groups are like natural light beer. If anybody knows what natural light beer is like, it's very weak, it's very watery, it's very cheap. And European Antifa is like hard liquor. But that may not always be the case. As long as groups like Antifa only receive slaps on the wrist from law enforcement, and as long as they remain largely unopposed,
it's going to give them power, and it's going to embolden them to be more aggressive.
Right. And handing out what was it, 3 years of probation to that asshole that cracked the skull of that one dude with the bike lock.
Well, not just him, but I mean, look at some of the people in Portland that have been arrested. You know, most of the Antifa arrests in Portland have been disturbing the peace charges, which that means that basically they got a $1,000 fine. It didn't matter what they did. All they got charged with was disturbing the peace. So,
yep. And
that's not punishing people for, you know, assaulting people. That's not punishing people for you know, attacking the cops or attacking citizens with projectiles.
Yeah, that's called enabling.
If anything, that's just giving them an excuse to use harder levels of force next time.
Right.
Because they didn't get arrested for throwing rocks. Why not throw frozen bottles next time, or glass, or, you know, M80s?
Right.
Well, I didn't get arrested for punching that guy, so next time I should carry a bit of wood and hit the guy.
Yeah.
You know,
only got 3 years probation for cracking that dude's skull with a bike lock.
You know, if I carry a piece of wood and crack him, I probably won't get anything. And then they get disturbing the peace again, and it's like, yeah, you know, this is enabling them.
Yeah, we get these judges that still haven't quite gotten it. They're not they're not looking out for these people. They're not helping these people out in any way, shape, or form by being light on them. You're not encouraging them to go into a more positive direction in the future. Maybe they can learn and grow from this. Maybe they can take this experience and become better parts of society. No, no, no. You punish them. You make other people watch as you punish them. And you get results. And the result is, hey, look, if we take this shit too far, this is what's going to happen. Instead of, I see that he was given a lenient sentence, so I guess that means that he now has a chance for the future to mend his ways and become a more productive and more positive member of society. No, no, no. That's not exactly the case, no, is it?
No, it really isn't.
They see these little slaps on the wrist as hey, if they don't send him in for hard time, maybe I can get away with it too.
Yeah, it's more like, hey, they didn't arrest Johnny for cracking that guy's skull. I guess I can punch 20 guys and they're not going to do anything either. So let's go do that.
Yeah.
And what's worse is, you've got all of these cities in California where a lot of this is happening. But a lot of it is also adding a lot of other things there. Mostly in the fact that, you've got more Islamists coming in, especially on these H-1B visas. A lot of them are coming in from India through Pakistan. I can't tell you how many I've seen in the tech industry in Silicon Forest. And you then add in the fact that they're coming into L.A. and San Francisco, and then they're upping the ante by, creating more mosques, creating more extremists, fostering, CARE and other groups like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's a perfect breeding ground, and it doesn't make any sense why we're continuing to do this.
Well, some of it stems from the gift that keeps on giving, the legacy of political
Muhammad?
correctness, of the attitude that it's racist to hold these groups up to scrutiny.
Well, but see, that also makes it really, really dangerous for people like me. Because, pagans like me, an unapologetic pagan, we're targets of these kind of groups.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pagans, Christians, Jews, gays.
Christians and Jews are less so, but your gays, your pagans, anybody that isn't an Abrahamic religion, in a lot of cases, can't be a Dhimmi. And because they can't be a Dhimmi, a lot of these more extreme Islamic groups see them as garbage, basically, because they can't be forced to convert to Islam, and they can't be taxed as a second-class citizen, because the Quran says basically just kill them. Don't convert them, just kill them. And so it makes our lives more dangerous. And yet, people want to keep importing them, and keep dictating that we have to accept their religious tenets as the same as Christianity, which doesn't dictate that it has to kill its enemies. It's different. They really are.
Yeah, Islam has not gone through the reformations that Christianity has.
But even back before the Reformations, before the Protestant movement, Christianity didn't dictate it had to execute its enemies. It did it, but it didn't have any actual strictures that said that. Islam in the Quran, it actually does. It's part of the reason Islam hasn't gone through a reformation.
Right. So they originated from different cultures. There's in Islam, there's a lot of stuff that is carryover from a lot of those tribes, and you see a lot of that in you look at the Old Testament, and you see a lot of old tribal law in books like Leviticus and Deuteronomy.
Yes, you do, and a lot of people try to state that needs to be, dictated and mandated in its scripture.
Yeah,
A lot of that gets changed due to the Reformation. And
that's
once again,
yeah. Those are. I'm the type of Christian that those ancient tribal laws, I don't feel they have as much weight as what is in the New Testament. That Jesus didn't say it, so I don't really. It's not my thing. I mean, I do recognize that there is a historical and cultural importance of those old tribal laws. I mean, it's interesting to study and from like an
anthropological point of view.
Yeah, point of view. Yeah. But as far as how it affects, my lifestyle and my spirituality and my relationship with my supreme being, then it doesn't really affect that very much, because that's not the book that I study. That's not the one that I'm a New Testament kind of guy.
So Falcon, you were asking what a dhimmi is. A dhimmi is a position in Islam that is considered a second-class citizen. They have to pay the jizya, which is a form of taxation to promote Islam and jihad. They are allowed to live amongst the Islamic faithful, but they are considered...
They're like a lower caste.
They're considered just above animals, but not really people. But they're allowed to be there and they're allowed to work because they pay the taxes to the Islamic Church. And so, if you're an Abrahamic religion, that means Christianity or Judaism, you can be a dhimmi. You can keep your religion. But if you're anything else, it doesn't work that way.
I came in at a very interesting spot. What are we talking about?
Hey, Antipa. So we were talking about different types of Islamic theory here, and we were talking about terrorism in the United States, and we had just covered the map of terrorism, which, by the way, I hope you know that Portland, Oregon has an Al-Qaeda training center in it that's been acknowledged.
I'm not surprised at all.
Well,
after being here, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, I knew that we had the Hamas center out in the Dalles. It didn't actually even make this list, so I'm wondering if it's still active.
Yeah, flash that map again for us, buddy.
Yeah, here, give me a second here. I'll screen share it again.
And I was not surprised at all. This is, of course, a map that is 7 years old, but I was not surprised at all to see that there were some some in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and the Houston area. It's a large Democratic voting bloc in those particular cities.
I'm also noticing that a lot of these cities are places where they have openly stated that they're sanctuary cities as well.
Oh, yes. Almost all of them are sanctuary cities.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier, if one were to superimpose the 2016 voting results, how many of these areas would fall in the blue areas? Blue or purple?
Well, like I said, almost all of them fall directly in the blue. I think Roanoke was purple. And Roanoke only has Al-Fuga, which is a very small terrorist organization that doesn't have a whole lot of power.
Well, either way, there's people being trained to be terrorists in our nation.
There are,
That shouldn't be okay.
Well, and this is just the Islamic terrorists, because this is a map from a book that was published just a few years ago called The American Jihad.
Yeah. And then later we had this conversation. This whole stream, of course, is a reaction to the that little school terrorist camp that was found out in New Mexico, and Veteran and I were talking about this, that maybe it may not be such a bad idea to re-examine, going back, I would say at least 25 years, re-examine every other school shooting for possible ties to, if not Islamic extremist groups, other forms of extremist terrorist organizations.
I doubt they'll let anybody do that. Jeez.
Well, one of the things we also were starting to discuss was the fact that this is just the Islamic training camps. We know that Antifa has been coming up more in power. Granted, they're not quite what European Antifa is yet, but they definitely are more powerful than they were 5 years ago or 7 years ago. So they have to be training and talking and organizing. And we don't have a map of where they're at. I mean, we know in general. We know, Portland, we know Seattle, we know Berkeley, we know LA, but where else are they? I mean, I found a Twitter handle for Nashville Antifa, for crying out loud, and Nebraska Antifa. And I'm following them, but I haven't seen a whole lot of activity on them yet. So how many are there? How active are they? What are they doing?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I mean, I definitely want to know. This is my freaking country,
Anybody that is halfway interested in freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and not getting their head cracked in by a bike lock should be curious.
Baton, yeah. I mean,
well, I'm concerned, but at the same time, I have a lot of faith in the general American public, because there are a lot of guns and a lot of people that know how to fight. So I keep hoping that these fucksticks are going to create their little groups, but that the rest of us are going to be capable of stomping them down rather easily. I just keep hoping it. You know what I mean?
Well, and I hope it too. I really do, Antipa. But, realistically, I can handle maybe 1 or 2 attackers at a time. I might even be able to handle up to 8 attackers at a time, especially if they're poorly organized or poorly trained. But eventually, numbers matter.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I just keep hoping there's more of us than them.
Well, that's the thing, though. If they catch us 20-1 when we're only expecting 6, we're in trouble. And even if there's another 50 of us somewhere else, they've caught 7 of us at 20-1, we're not going to be any good for a while. If we're alive at all.
We need to start traveling in groups, I guess, huh?
Well, see, that's part of the problem. If we start traveling in groups, then are we antagonizing? I mean, it starts causing this escalation effect.
Yeah. But there's no way to win that.
There really isn't. So the question becomes is knowing where they're actually at, knowing how to actually get them.
Yeah, no, it's and I don't even know how to do that. I mean, we just assume that all hipsters are dangerous. I mean, I don't even know. how do we, you know, how do we address that?
They were dangerous before it was cool.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what we've got to do is we've actually got to start doing something akin to Jihad Watch, but for Antifa. I mean, is what it really comes down to.
I thought that's what the Groypers were doing.
The who?
The Groypers? They're a group of people on Twitter. Most of them seem to know exactly what Antifa's doing.
I haven't run into them, and I constantly am following Antifa and arguing with them. I wish they'd get in contact with me.
Okay.
Was that the Groypers?
The Groypers, Groypers. I see them, the Groyper, all the time. I see them all over Twitter. And most of them, they know about Antifa, and a lot of them have mock Antifa accounts where they fake being part of Antifa and they make jokes and stuff like that. And they seem to know a lot of what Antifa is doing. From what little I see on Twitter anymore, everything may have changed over the last 2 months. I've got like nothing there. My Twitter is the deadest thing I've seen in a long time. Sorry.
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff through my feed on Twitter, and I mean, I'm following at least a dozen Antifa accounts. I wish I know. I wish I could find out if these are legit now or not. Because if they aren't, then I need to actually start digging further down. Because I'm trying to keep up with what they're doing and find out where they're going to be and why. So that I can actually get, footage of them so that I can share it with all you guys here,
The mock accounts are pretty obvious. They're pretty obvious. But they seem to have a really good track on what Antifa's actually doing, too.
And they're memeing. They meme good.
Oh, they meme wonderfully.
Is that, I hear police sirens. Is that...
They're coming to get me.
That was actually an ambulance siren. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm about 4 blocks from the firehouse. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No problem. I used to live down the street from the firehouse.
And speaking of terror, one thing I forgot to mention when we started this up was it's the anniversary of Robin Williams' death, which was a terrible thing.
Wow.
I was still working at my old job, and so I actually heard about it. I was on my cell phone, and I don't remember what site I was on, but I was on some website, and that was starting to be discussed. I was on my lunch break, sitting in a Whataburger, and I saw that about Robin Williams.
But
yeah, I was sad when that happened. I'm not gonna lie, it was sadness. But at the same time, I was listening to a Bobcat Goldthwait interview where he talked about Robin Williams didn't have depression; he had dementia.
Yeah, Lewy body dementia.
Yeah, and he really lost his mind there at the end.
Yeah.
So
he said he had a terrorist in his head.
Yeah.
Connecting all this stuff. He literally said that.
Yeah, see, that's real sad. So Joe Rash just said that George Soros is funding Antifa.
There's a whole lot of former Antifa members. There's like 8 of them now that are saying, yeah, Soros paid our bills.
Yep.
There's several of them now. It's not just 1 or 2 people anymore. But nobody's listening to them.
No, Pagan, I didn't get swatted like Mundane Matt. I promise. I have I have my location better hidden than Mundane Matt does. But thanks for the concern.
I'm just waiting to run into him in a grocery store because we live in the same town.
You're waiting to run into me in a grocery store?
No, Mundane Matt.
Oh, he's out here with us?
He's in Beaverton.
Dude.
Really? Because see, I'm on the corner of Beaverton and Tigard. I'm over by Shoals Ferry.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm on the corner of Beaverton and Hillsborough.
I know.
And
where
Aloha,
you're at.
in that little shopping area.
New Soy, Oregon.
Yeah.
Change it up.
We better stop discussing this because he might false flag all our channels.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot the false flagger. That's
Yeah,
right.
he-
Oh
Been,
yeah. We can't talk about that.
I've been
'cause,
teasing the giant for a couple of days now.
I know. I was surprised that one video didn't get flagged. We roasted the fuck out of him, Irene.
That was
Hey,
great.
Falcon, I'm originally from Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, so I'm only out here because of the tech industry.
Oh, see, I'm originally from California. I'm from Santa Barbara, of all frickin' places, but
Which is full of terrorists, according to this map.
yeah. Terrorists for like MS-13 and stuff. They're all drug running terrorists. When I was a kid, it was a beautiful tourist spot, and it was like the endless summer kind of beach zone. And by the time I was 25, it was a totally different place. Totally different place. It's changed. 2 decades, it was no longer a place I wanted to live. Gone by 30.
Can we safely assume it's another job well done by Democratic leadership?
Oh, you can absolutely. Santa Barbara's full of absolute insane, batshit crazy people.
Oh, yeah. I will wholeheartedly agree on that one. I keep seeing batshit crazy policies coming out of Santa Barbara.
Go to jail for straws.
Yep. Hey, be careful. You know, they're going to make it illegal to own sporks in Beaverton.
What?
Yeah. You didn't hear Governor Brown talking about banning plastic flatware and spoons?
Seriously?
Yeah, spoons,
No, I missed
straws,
that.
all of it.
Oh my God.
All of it.
How am I going to badly cut up my McDonald's pancakes in the morning without my plastic knife?
Oh my God, these people are retarded.
They're going to go to bamboo utensils.
Bamboo.
They're more durable. They actually are. They're more durable. They use them in Asian countries. They're more durable, but they cost a lot more.
They do. They cost 4 or 5 times as much.
Are they imported?
Yeah, they are.
Ah, gee.
What was that about? Never mind.
Yeah, they're coming out of Asia.
Dude.
But that carbon footprint, you know.
Oh yeah.
I saw this interesting graphic. I had this gigantic block of squares. It was like I would say 100 or more squares, and this was of course the amount of plastic waste from different parts of the world. There's a huge block of it that was Asia. There was a slightly smaller block of it that was
Europe,
Africa, actually. Then there was a little sliver down at the bottom that was the rest of the world, and then down at the very, very bottom corner, occupying just one square, was the United States, making up 0.6%. And let's see, there's something like something ridiculous, like 0.02% of our waste actually comes from things like plastic straws.
Yeah. That's actually very much true.
So in the grand scheme of plastic waste on planet Earth, the United States we're virtually non-existent.
No, it's yep.
If we're really serious about being environmentally conscious, would be putting pressure, more and more pressure on Asian and African countries.
Oh yeah, because I mean, if you go to like China, you know, one of the largest populations in the world, I think they actually top everybody else right now.
Aren't all their rivers toxic now?
Well, Look at everything is individually wrapped.
Yeah.
Even bulk packed everything. They have more plastic wrap going through China than they do anywhere else in the world. But America, we're supposed to kill ourselves with reusable everything.
Pagan did mention we do have K-Cups, and you know the United States throws out thousands of K-Cups a day. And they are wasteful as hell, Pagan. I've never used a K-cup.
What's a K-cup?
See, that's
Keurig machines.
The individual serving machines from
yeah, in the U.S.
Star Schmucks.
Yeah, in the U.S., technologies and products like that are the outliers. In Asian countries, they're the norm.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, okay, so I know I'm a coffee snob and all that stuff. I use whole bean coffee in a hand grinder and we use French press. I know, total coffee snob.
Is there any other way to do it?
That's the best way, Timo. What are you talking about? That's a great way.
I know, but apparently that makes me
a grinder as well.
Okay.
I don't hand grind. I've got a mechanical grinder, but I love fresh ground bean. I use an auto drip because I like to do 12 cups at a time.
Yeah, I was going to say, are these people that have no taste buds? Because when you use a K-cup, you lose a lot of the flavor. When you use a power grinder, you heat the bean up and you lose part of the flavor when you make the coffee. And I know whatever coffee snob, silly me, but I honestly wonder, what are these people thinking when they drink their coffee out of a K-cup and then they have that big stack of plastic things and then we all get charged for our garbage?
Yep.
It's the lines don't connect. The common sense lines don't connect.
No, they don't. Of course, then again, most of them don't realize that those K-cups, realistically, they could get a reusable K-cup gold wire filter.
Yeah.
And put grounds in there, and that way they wouldn't have to throw away a bunch of K-cups.
And you can get them at the dollar store now, even.
Yeah, you can get those at the dollar store. They're not the gold wire if you get them at the dollar store. They're like copper wire, but you can get good gold wire ones online from Amazon for like $12. And considering those K-cups are like $1 a cup, it adds up quick.
Yeah. It's false. It's a false sense of convenience, because it's not drastically more. You take a filter, you put it in the damn coffee maker, you pour the water in the coffee maker, you flip a button,
it beeps.
Coffee's ready. Time to get your caffeine on.
Yeah.
It ain't rocket science. It's not that hard. Keurig machines don't make your life more streamlined, more convenient.
Wasn't there a rash of people getting sick from them too because they weren't properly cleaning them?
Right, because they are somewhat difficult to clean.
Yeah, you gotta run a special cleaner through them every 50 cups or something like that.
Yeah, so like about every 3 months, what I do is I get some white vinegar, pour about a cup of it in my machine, run it through, clean as a whistle.
Yep. That's exactly how I do it too.
Clean as a whistle.
Actually, mine has a sensor on it, and it tells me when it's time to clean mine.
Yep. Anyway, I gotta jump out of here.
Not a problem. We're actually going to start talking about the New Mexico compound. So I just saw a press release about this that stated that one of the children in the New Mexico compound was actually dead due to neglect. He was just found. He was buried under one of the tents.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, have you seen this compound? It was actually, the walls were constructed with old tires and glass bottles.
So it looked like a hippie commune from the outside?
Pretty much.
It looked kind of like Slab City down there in California. You've seen Slab City, haven't you, Tim?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a gigantic homeless shelter.
Pretty much. That's what Slab City looks like. It looks like a giant homeless shelter with vehicles and guns.
Dude.
And apparently this place was about the same. They did have some what looked like old decommissioned GP medium tops that were the snow cover canvas tops, so they're white instead of green. And they were being used for the actual training facility.
Jeez. Okay, so they're neglecting kids to the point they die to train them how to be jihadists, and they're thinking it's going to work when those kids can go eat when they've left the compound?
Yep. Well, to be fair, one of the things that's a common technique for child soldiers, especially in like Africa and the Middle East, Antipa, is systematic abuse to force the Stockholm syndrome.
So they use,
They use consistent, aggressive, systematic abuse to force the Stockholm connection. And then once it's there, they can then use that connection to create a zealous combatant.
Oh, man. Well...
and that appears to be what was going on here in New Mexico, because they had several females in the compound that they were forcing training. And there were 5 adults. All 5 of them have been charged with neglect. Not terrorism, not material support of terrorists.
God damn.
Not child abuse, just neglect.
Just neglect so far.
Wait, now, so I can go to jail for tickling my kids too much, but they can starve children to death?
Well, here's the kicker, Antipa. These people aren't even actually behind bars at the moment. They were granted
they're out
bond.
on bail.
Yeah. $20,000. Yeah.
Oh.
So all 5 of these people, the judge in New Mexico declared that they weren't a risk to the public safety.
Good Christ.
Sorry.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, man? I mean, seriously, there's something wrong with their hard drives.
There really is. Now, this was one of those activist judges that had been put into place most recently. She declared that they were not a threat to public safety, so she insisted that they all be ankle monitored and $20,000 bail.
Oh, gosh. I hate activist judges. I really do. They...
Now, last I remember, Ruby Ridge, the guy was arrested for evading taxes.
Yeah.
I thought he was arrested for illegally sawing off a shotgun a half an inch too short.
I thought that was the Branch Davidians.
No, that was Ruby Ridge.
Maybe I've got those backwards then, but once again, sawing a shotgun down an inch too short is not training a bunch of teenagers to be terrorists.
No, the holding a fully armed baby, fully automatic baby is totally a reason to get shot in the face too. But I mean, that's Vicky Weaver. Sorry, guys. I know the Ruby Ridge story pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, so I've got some problems here with how this New Mexico situation has been being handled, because this is just... Man. This is not what needs to be going.
Well, this is what leads to vigilante justice, too. I mean, this is the kind of thing, if those faces are released, people are going to attack them.
All right, so...
Serious
so apparently one of the children that died, the child that died, was actually a 3-year-old, according to this bit of information I'm looking at right now. So
a 3-year-old?
So it was the youngest of the children. Yes.
Christ. That's so disgusting.
I hate to jump out at that point, but you guys take care and have a great evening. And
nice to see you again.
We'll see you later.
Tyro is in the chat now. If you want to say something.
Tyro, I just wanted to apologize. I gave you the wrong time. I said 6 Central for this early evening, late afternoon. I really should have said 6 Eastern. So my bad, man. That's it. Good catching up with everybody. I gotta I got
see
an
you later, 6.
early morning tomorrow. Wake up, so I gotta jump out of here. So you
I
guys take it
completely
easy.
understand. I'm going to be up early too. We're going to end here in just a minute. So
right.
Good to
that
see you,
right
dude.
there, that
Take it
right
easy.
there, guys, is actually an image of this compound. You can see the walls are built up of tires.
Nope, no red flags.
Yeah. It actually is not GP mediums from the looks from this angle. It's actually some sort of solar tent.
I think probably those tires would absorb bullets pretty fucking well.
They would, especially full of sand and glass.
I was going to say, if you put sand in them, man, good luck. That's a fortified.
Well, they've got a range out behind them. Those aren't even tents. Those are just 2x4s with clear plastic sheeting tossed over them.
Well,
that may be a greenhouse.
That's what I was saying, greenhouse tools. But oh my God, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's some of the images of the compounds. Now it looks like the weaponry that they had there at the compound included lever action 30-30s with scopes, bolt action 8mm Mausers, and
who are these people affiliated with?
These it is unsure, but the 5 defendants are Sheher Waha, Hure Waha, Sabuhara Waha, Jenny Level, and Lucas Morton. So they're probably all family.
They're Muslim. With those kind of names, they're probably Muslim.
Oh, they definitely are. They look to be Somali Muslim or maybe North African Muslim. They're definitely darker on the spectrum there. But, yeah. The one that was found dead apparently was a 3-year-old. I was at first reading reports that said it might have been a teenager, but that's a much newer report. And so yeah, this is an example of where see something, say something didn't exactly get there soon enough, and it's kind of important.
How could you drive by that and not say something?
Yeah.
You can see roads and shit in the background. How could you not say something to somebody like, hey, what the fuck is that weird thing that's all shiny out there with a bunch of tires around it? Like, I would have called somebody for, like, wellness at that point, because I would have been concerned out in the New Mexican desert in the heat that people were out there and they were in trouble because there's obviously no running anything there. You know what I mean? Like, I would have called somebody long before now. I don't know. In the middle of nowhere, I don't know. I probably would have called somebody because but I don't know. Maybe it looks different when you're on the ground than up in the air. I don't know.
Well, the big problem, Antipa, comes is how often did people actually drive by? You know,
yeah.
I mean, I've lived in areas that were remote enough that you would see maybe 2 people that lived out there drive by a day, because there weren't that many people going by. It was pretty much people that lived out there going somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe.
And so when it's that remote, you know, the person would likely come over, hey, is everybody okay? What you guys got going on over there? And they'd be like, greenhouse, you know, we're growing vegetables. Well, what's with the tire barricades? Well, just to keep the animals out. Oh, okay.
Plausible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess plausible. Maybe somebody did say something. I don't know. If it had been in my area and something like that popped up, I probably would have been keeping an eye on it. Just.
Well, shoot, Antipa, you know, there's a new mosque over on Shoals Ferry by 217, right?
No.
Yeah, it's only been there for about 5 years. It's at that. Yeah. I watched them put it in. It's got a school. Yeah.
Not scary at all.
It frightened me when they started building it. Because,
there's a lot of hijabs out here, though.
There are.
There are a lot of hijabs out here. I was kind of surprised to see that many in the area because it's a fairly nice area, and it's not generally the area you see as many hijabs as we're seeing here. So
Well, to be fair, not all of them are hijabs. Some of them are. So you've got Sikhs out here. You've got Muslims out here, and then you've got there's another one where the women cover their head, but it's not a hijab. It's a
Like Catholic nuns, maybe?
no. It's
don't Hasidic women cover their hair?
it's not the Hasidics, although the Hasidics do on occasion. It's an Eastern European sect. It's kind of like Orthodox, but it's not.
I don't know the name. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but we've got them as well, and so when you've got that kind of combination, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming.
Malachite?
Yeah.
Lebanese,
Yeah.
That's Catholic-ish, yeah.
It's Catholic-ish, yes. It's kind of like a cross between Orthodox and Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
a
got
lot of superstition.
well, yeah, we got a lot of Lebanese people in Birmingham, and there's a Malachite church that my cousin married into. It was a really cool, beautiful ceremony. It's a cool church. You know, they use that mosaic layout, so all the imagery and shit. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very ornate.
And to be fair, I'm not normally one that doesn't support, freedom of religion, but I do have problems with like the burqas and the niqabs because you can't actually see who's underneath.
Well, burqas make me angry because of what they represent.
Well,
it's fundamentalism, and I don't like fundamentalism in any form. I think it's toxic.
Yeah.
And it makes me angry. The hijab is whatever, it's like wearing a cross.
It's closed-minded.
It's the burqa is a symbol of oppression to me, and it's not like Muslim women being oppressed. It's religious oppression of any sort angers me. So it's all lumped into that for me. I don't like burqas.
I can completely get behind that. I don't like them for multiple reasons. One of them is that they specifically obscure the ability to understand and know who's there. And that is just from a civil perspective, that's disturbing. And then you add in the fact that it obscures signs of abuse, and then it's a sign of oppression. It just kind of, they're disgusting is what it comes down to at that point. It becomes beyond anything that should be tolerated in a civilized society, from my opinion. But,
absolutely. Sorry, excuse me. They're antithetical to everything that is Western.
Yep.
This is supposed to be a place where we all freely express ourselves and we can look like idiots if we want. Not supposed to be covered from head to toe in black polyester. No. I think it's like seeing a family where the father is, the 12 paces ahead of the rest of the family. You'll see that saw it a lot in the South when I lived in Texas. It's the really fundamental side of the Baptists.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And that would make me just as angry. Because it's like, how can you go into a public place that's crowded and expect them to stay that far back from you and then turn around and glare if they're too close or too far? It was just as angry inducing to me. I hate the symbols of religious fundamentalism. They're destructive. They destroy societies.
Well, to be fair, I never understood that whole 12 steps back thing in the Southern Baptist Church. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, me either.
But what do I know? So we're down at the last 10 minutes of the hour. So what have you got coming up, Antipa?
Funny you should ask.
Everything. Tomorrow I'll be doing taboo talking points on the cunt stream. We're going to be covering a story I found. It's going to be our shoot-off point. Apparently UCSB has a website attached to their school where they say it's totally fine to let your kids play with themselves and watch porn. Sex play is encouraged for children. Yes. Yes. Should be totally normalized. Sexual
What age
deviancy
group?
doesn't really happen, right?
What age?
Young, like 4.
No. Negative. See, that's
Negative.
part of that whole queer kid shit. You know,
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's wrong.
sexualizing children is just no. That's no.
It leads to deviancy.
Right, they'll come in their own shit in due time.
Yeah, and a healthy sexual self-image has to do with understanding the names of the parts and learning how they work on your own, not watching unrealistic porn, because let's be real, most porn isn't how people actually have sex.
Right. It's an idealized form that it tends to degrade women.
Exactly. So we're going to be covering that, and then Thursday, Irate is going to be doing his thing, so I'll be watching that. Hopefully it'll give me a day off to do a video I've already recorded. I have to edit. It's a dramatic reading, and it's really cringe. So if you guys shout at me for being cringy, it's going to be cringy. That's what it is.
How dramatic?
Oh, as dramatic, as snarky dramatic as I could muster with my old woman smoke voice.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to be looking forward to it.
It's as much as I could muster. I'm trying. Friday, Irate and I are going to be doing his awesome show.
The Queen Stream.
The Cream Stream.
Yeah.
Hopefully I have some time off this weekend. I usually end up popping up around somewhere, on Saturdays at least. And then Monday is the Lazy Misfits show, 7 p.m. Eastern. That should be on Suicide's channel, provided everything goes right. If not, it'll be on my channel again. And then Tuesdays, I arrive at Moonifest Destiny for Moonifest Destiny, and I try to make it here quicker than we did, but we had technical difficulties before starting.
Not a problem. I completely understand, hon. Irate had a few issues as well, so looks like today was just a day for technical difficulties, because my computer was acting up early this morning.
I still can't get Steam to run correctly. I have a game, and I got the controller, and I can't play it, and I really want to play Street Fighter with my son, and I can't get it to work, and I'm mad at it right now.
Good luck on that. So, Irate, what you got coming up?
Like Tim alluded to, Thursday, Big Fat Brian and I are going to be looking at Netflix original programming docu-series on food. It's called Rotten. And it's going to be it's about the food industry, and some of it has to do with the regulatory system. It so far has some political leaning. I'm not going to. You can guess which way. Of course, Cream Stream. It's the 50th Cream Stream, and that's like weeks. So we're almost coming up on a year. And then Sunday, I'm doing an interview with Jack T. Repper for the ice cream thing. He's a great guy. He's very fascinating. So we're gonna have some fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, and Friday I do want to, broski. There's a 24-hour telethon kind of thing where they're going to be running the channel all night to get money for him. If I'm not mistaken, he's just learned that he is sick, and I think it's some type of. I think it's treatable, but it's going to take a lot of money, and I don't want to shoot off anything, but it's not good. So you might keep him in your prayers if you did that thing.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm not sure about a food show called Rotten, but I guess I might have to give it a try. Of course, I'm going to be trying to get some more videos in tomorrow and Thursday, of course, and I might try to see about doing a live stream this weekend. Although Sunday and Monday next week, I might be a little scarce on the internet as I'm getting things ready to do my cross-country move.
Yes.
Because I got to go drop off some supplies for a friend of mine. She's getting most of my canning supplies, and I've got some beer-making supplies I got to drop off. Got to start getting the schedule down for getting the new trailer hitch put on and everything else. So Forgive me, everyone, if I'm having issues, making timelines over the next couple of weeks. I am seriously trying to get as much as I can done, but this is something that's going to eat up a lot more of my time, and it's very much necessary, believe me. If you don't, you can ask Antipa just how, crazy things are getting out here. It's part of the reason I'm leaving, because I can't do it anymore.
Dude, it sounds like it's just fucking loony out there, man. I'll be honest with you guys.
It is. There's close to 30% of the population I see in my area. I can't tell if they're men transitioning to female or if they're just angry, ugly lesbians. Like, I can't tell.
Antipa, it's pretty much just yes on that, on all accounts. You're never going to be able to figure it out.
I mean, if I lived there, I'd have to be stoned all the time.
I want to be.
Yeah. Actually, my dad was talking to me about that, and he was asking me if I could get him price information about his medication that he's using in Tennessee. And I looked at him and I said, if it's really that big a deal, I'm buying land in Tennessee. We can set you up your medicinal grow on my land. He's like, Really? I'm like, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with this. It'll save you a lot more money than trying to come out here and take it back home with you.
Well, not to mention they're checking everybody leaving Oregon right now anyway because there's such a surplus. They're selling it everywhere else.
Oh yeah. If you're leaving through the airports, yes, of course. If you drive, it's a little harder to check you on that, and especially if he's taking it for personal use. But the point is that it's just a lot easier just to grow it there.
Hopefully, it gets unbanned here soon, so we can start doing it federally and stop with the dumbness.
Well, to be fair, I could really care less about it. It's not really a huge issue for me one way or the other. I just think it's kind of stupid that we've got pot illegal federally and we got alcohol legal federally.
Yeah.
It don't add up, does it?
No, it doesn't. Well, everyone, we're going to go ahead and call it a night here. Thank you all for joining us for our Front Porch Talk. Of course, we are going to be back on next week, and I'll announce the topic between now and then. And, of course, I'm also going to be trying to get you another cultural Marxist of the month. I think I've got a good candidate. I've just got to finish doing a little research here, and then I'll be doing up the video for them. So, everybody have yourself a nice night.
Love, peace, chicken grease.
No.